So tonight we're going to cover medical supply industry, and I took away medical supply non-invasive. Even in value line, they specifically identify like medical supply non-invasive industry. And the reason why, because this type of industry includes companies which like supply products which are not like punched through the skin. Okay, so that's the way. So it's tablets, different patches, different like equipment, etc., 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 etc. But in reality, if you look at the company, you will understand that majority of companies included in this industry, they actually supply an invasive products also. Probably Value Line has this type of division, but in reality, some companies, they can be kind of applicable, like you can put the company in different industries as well, and McKinsey is not a different from other companies. For example, if you look at some of these companies, they're not only supplying, they're manufacturing. So for example, Procter & Gamble, they not only distributing the products, they actually manufacturing the products. They have some factories to manufacture the products. And also the company which we are going to cover today, they are not only supplying the product, but also the NT technology and also the retail sector covering. So it's quite difficult to specifically tell that, okay, this company can be only in this industry. So they're related to different industries, and that's why whatever division Value Line has, I not always agree with that. Okay, but the reason, so if we look at this specific industry, in general, health service industries related to health service industry, we noticed that for the last 6 months or 1 year, a lot of companies in that specific sector, they went down. And there are a few reasons for that. And the reasons are not only that companies, they're making less money. Actually, majority of them, they keep growing and their profitability and sales level is growing up. But at the same time, the share prices continue to sliding down. And the reason for that, first, political and political uncertainty, and secondly, that could be some economical and competition level. So first of all, political stuff. When the like election was in progress, a lot of like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, both of them, they promised that they're going to take care about poor people, and they're going to review the health service industry, like industries in all these companies when they become presidents. And during that election, because a lot of companies, they have high margin. Okay, and we looked at some of them, for example, Gill Technology, they have Gill Scientific, they have a lot of margin, nearly 70% operational margin. So can you imagine, it's huge percentage. So if the cost of the product is $30, they are selling it for $70, it's quite huge margin. And of course, a lot of people are not happy that they have to pay such huge cost products. The treatment for such products, like, I mean, with such treatment cost nearly $100,000 annually, and a lot of people can't afford it. So that's why the promise was made that we're going to look for those specific companies to try to reduce their margins. And as a result, majority of shares of those companies, they start dropping down, and it's like triggered this effect that other companies related to those companies, they went down as well. Now, is it going to be true or not? We don't know. But if you pay attention to the previous promises which politicians made 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they probably say exactly the same. And in a lot of elections, people tell one thing and then in reality, nothing happens in the future. People just pay attention to the promises. In reality, the delivery of those promises not always in place. So it's already nearly 2 years since Donald Trump was elected, but he still hasn't done anything to suppress this type of industry. So, and most likely we won't see anything significant happening in the future, because medical health like sector industry, it's about 17% of GDP of United States. And to change this industry and affect it, it's quite difficult. So they probably understand if they start reducing margins, of course the profitability of that specific sector will be going down as well, and of course level of taxes will be dropped down as well, and as a result like budget will suffer from that. Yes, customers will be happy because the prices would be lower, but government won't receive as much money as they are planning to achieve. So it's like always balance what is happening there. Another good thing about, another fear which created this emotional effect and the prices started going down, that's Amazon entering this area. And people, investors, they're afraid of Amazon. We already discussed it with other industries, and we realized already, like probably practical experience, that those emotions, they come and they go. So for example, 2 years ago, remember when Amazon was entering retail sector, and a lot of retail companies, they just collapsed. We could buy companies like Nike for $50. Now it's about nearly $75 or even higher. Remember Buckle, which we could get and buy it for nearly like $12. Now it's $27. And a lot of other companies we will buy at much lower prices. Some companies were 50% discounted, and now they moved up. Within the last 2 years, they moved back up and nearly made 50 to 100% profit for those who managed to buy it. So at the moment, companies included in different like industries related to health service, they're in the same position, and we already discussed a couple of them. We looked at HFC, we looked at CVS Health, we looked at Walgreens Boots, like pharmaceutical services, like with pharmacies, and we could see that they were kind of down, went down in price, even though their profitability kept going up, and they're quite low in valuation. But recently they like produce good results, and as a result their share prices moved nearly 15% for the last month only, and which pretty good considering like one month move. But we expected that. We knew that it's not going to like those companies cannot be so low in price for such a long time, because if your profit is growing, why should the price of shares continue to slide down? Okay, so in a similar situation, our specific company, which we're going to look today. Another good thing about medical supply industry is it's understanding how they operate. Majority of companies included in this sector, they charge, for example, if the pharmacy sells the product for $20, usually they have certain agreement on the sell price. That's how they operate. So they calculate the sell price, they calculate the buying price, and usually for the fact that they're delivering the product, they receive some kind of premium. So if the pharmacy decides to reduce their price, it means that the profit of like this company included in supply industry is going to go down as well. So this is kind of thing which can affect. That's why MCK went down, because majority of investors, they thought, okay, if there is a fight and the government will try to push down prices for drugs, it means that companies supplying those drugs, they will be affected as well. Because 10%, or for example, 10% from $20, it would be $2, but 10% from $15, it would be already $1.5. So of course it will affect the profitability of these companies. So that's what we have to pay attention to when we're going to analyze those companies and see how much their profit is going to be affected if something like that happens. Okay, but at the same time, the good thing about this specific industry, that they have a consistent revenue and consistent cash flow, because people are sick all the time, and life expectancy is growing, and of course people live longer, but they're not living healthier. Okay, and of course people have to buy drugs, they have to buy some vitamins, they have to buy a lot of like paramedical equipment, and of course it creates a huge revenue for companies like which selling that stuff. And of course companies which supply, and wholesale companies which supply these products, they constantly receive cash from that. So it's very profitable business, but at the same time it's quite difficult to entry at that level because you have to go through a lot of legal kind of legislations, get some licenses, and provide like a lot of quality compliances when you like deliver drugs, etc., etc. That's why companies which are already on that market, they are not afraid of new entrances, except companies like Amazon. Okay, when Amazon is entering and they are frightening everyone that we're going to be there and we're going to deliver with much bigger efficiency, some companies, they get scared and it's pushed the price down. Okay. So another thing, as already mentioned, that some companies included in this industry might vary in their activity. Some companies involved only in supplying of like products and medical stuff, but some companies are involved in manufacturing products too. Okay, so and that's why when you analyze the company, you cannot just rely, okay, for example, Value Line sees this industry in general not moving too high, but when you look at the specific company, you can see that that company has another type of branch or division in their company which has a potential to grow. Okay, so and you have to assess the company in this way. Okay, about industry, guys. That's now, if you go to Value Line, you probably can download this report and read about it, but it is practically what I already told you, maybe some extras, but please, before you invest, of course, read it yourself and try to understand this industry like purely. Johnson & Johnson, one of the biggest companies in this specific industry. Okay, Food Plus is all clear. And another, guys, I want to ask you, I have some buzzing in my headphones. Is your hearing fine? Like, I mean, do you have some kind of disturbances when I'm talking, or all clear? All sounds good. Okay,